Picture this. It's September 11, 1985, in the Chattahoochee National Forest in northern Georgia. A bear, a wild, 175-pound American black bear, is wandering through the woods, doing normal bear things, looking for food, marking territory, living its life. Then the bear finds something unusual. Scattered across the forest floor are dozens of black duffel bags. The bear, curious and hungry, approaches. It tears into one of the bags. Inside isn't food. It's white powder, lots of it. The bear sniffs it, tastes it, and in the way bears do when they find something interesting, it eats it. The white powder is cocaine, pure, uncut cocaine, and the bear has just consumed approximately 34 kilograms, 75 pounds, of it. That's roughly $15 million worth of cocaine. Enough cocaine to kill several elephants. Enough cocaine to send a small army into cardiac arrest. The bear is about to have the worst and shortest drug trip in history. Within hours, the bear is dead. Its heart exploded, its organs shut down. It died in what medical examiners would later describe as the most extreme case of cocaine overdose ever recorded in any mammal. This is the true story of Cocaine Bear, a wild animal that accidentally consumed a massive amount of narcotics and died in the Georgia wilderness. It's a story about drug smuggling gone wrong, a dead drug dealer, a stuffed bear in a Kentucky mall, and somehow, 38 years later, a Hollywood movie, and every bit of it is real. Let me take you back to how this happened. The story begins with Andrew C. Thornton II, a man with one of the strangest resumes in American history. Born in 1944 into a wealthy Kentucky family, Thornton seemed to have it all. He was a U.S. Army paratrooper who served in Vietnam. After the military, he became a narcotics officer, a cop whose job was to fight drug smuggling. But somewhere along the way, Thornton decided the wrong side was more profitable. By the early 1980s, he'd quit law enforcement and become one of the most successful cocaine smugglers in the United States. He used his military training, his knowledge of law enforcement tactics, and his connections to run a sophisticated drug operation importing cocaine from South America. Thornton's specialty was aerial drops. He'd fly small planes from Colombia or other drug-producing countries into the southern United States, drop cocaine packages over remote areas, then have ground teams collect them. It was efficient, hard to detect, and extremely lucrative. By 1985, Thornton was making millions, but he was also reckless, arrogant, and increasingly paranoid. He knew law enforcement was closing in, and on September 11, 1985, he was about to make his final smuggling run. September 11, 1985, early morning, Thornton takes off from an airstrip in South America in a small Cessna loaded with approximately 40 duffel bags containing 300 to 400 kilograms of cocaine. His plan: fly into the southeastern United States, drop the cocaine over a remote forested area in Georgia or Tennessee, then land safely. But something goes wrong. Either the plane malfunctions, Thornton realizes he's being tracked, or he panics. Whatever the reason, Thornton starts dumping the cocaine mid-flight. He's flying over the Chattahoochee National Forest in northern Georgia, throwing duffel bags out of the plane. Then Thornton makes a fatal decision. He's going to parachute out himself. At approximately 11 a.m. on September 11, Thornton jumps from the plane wearing a parachute, a bulletproof vest, Gucci loafers, and night vision goggles. He's carrying weapons, thousands in cash, and a bag of cocaine for personal use. His parachute malfunctions, or he jumps at the wrong altitude, or he's too high on cocaine himself to deploy it correctly. Whatever the reason, Andrew Thornton II falls from the sky and crashes into a driveway in Knoxville, Tennessee, dead on impact. A homeowner finds the body. It's immediately clear this isn't a normal skydiving accident. Thornton is wearing military gear, carrying weapons covered in cocaine, with thousands in cash strapped to his body. Police quickly identify him as a known drug smuggler, and they realize if Thornton was dumping drugs from a plane, those drugs are somewhere in the forest. The hunt begins. Law enforcement agencies, DEA, FBI, local police, start searching the Chattahoochee National Forest for the missing cocaine. They find some of the duffel bags, but not all of them. Dozens of bags, hundreds of pounds of cocaine, are still missing somewhere in the wilderness. And that's when the bear enters the story. Sometime between Thornton's death on September 11th and late September or early October, a black bear in the Chattahoochee National Forest finds one of the duffel bags, or maybe several bags. The exact details will never be known because no one witnessed it, but what we know for certain is that the bear consumed a massive amount of cocaine. How much? The medical examiner who later performed a necropsy on the bear estimated approximately 34 kilograms, 75 pounds. That's almost certainly an overestimate. the bear probably ate closer to 3 to 4 kilograms, which is still an absolutely catastrophic amount. For context, 1 gram of cocaine is enough to get a human extremely high. The bear ate 3,000 to 4,000 grams. What happens when a bear eats 3 to 4 kilograms of cocaine? Nothing good. Cocaine is a powerful stimulant. In humans, it increases heart rate, blood pressure, and body temperature. It causes euphoria, hyperactivity, paranoia, and aggression. In massive doses, it causes seizures, heart attacks, and death. A bear's metabolism is different from a human's, but not enough to survive this much cocaine. Within minutes of consuming the cocaine, the bear would have experienced extreme hyperactivity and aggression, massively elevated heart rate, possibly 300 plus beats per minute, skyrocketing blood pressure, hyperthermia, body temperature rising dangerously, seizures, respiratory failure, and cardiac arrest. The bear probably didn't understand what was happening. It just knew something was terribly wrong. Its heart was pounding. Its body was overheating. It was in agony. And then within a few hours at most, its heart exploded. Literally, the cocaine caused such severe cardiovascular stress that the bear's heart ruptured. The bear died alone in the forest, its body pumped full of enough cocaine to kill a dozen humans. Weeks later, in December 1985, a hunter stumbles across a dead bear in the Chattahoochee National Forest. It's been dead for weeks or months. The body is partially decomposed. Near the bear are torn open duffel bags and traces of white powder. The hunter reports it to authorities. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation sends medical examiner Dr. Kenneth Alonzo to perform a necropsy. What he finds is shocking. The bear's stomach and intestines are full of cocaine. Its blood contains cocaine metabolites. The bear died from acute cocaine intoxication, the most extreme overdose Dr. Alonzo has ever seen. Its stomach was literally packed to the brim with cocaine. Dr. Alonzo later said in interviews, "I've never seen anything like it before or since. The bear simply couldn't survive that amount of cocaine. Its heart gave out." The story hits the news. Bear found dead after eating cocaine becomes a headline. It's bizarre, darkly funny, and tragic all at once. A wild animal accidentally killed by drug smugglers' contraband. The media loves it. Late-night talk shows make jokes. It becomes a weird footnote in the war on drugs. But the story doesn't end there, because someone decides to stuff the bear. After the necropsy, the bear's body is given to a taxidermist, and in a move that could only happen in America, the taxidermist stuffs the bear, and it ends up in various places over the years. First it's displayed at a pawn shop in Kentucky, then it moves around. Eventually it ends up at the Kentucky for Kentucky Fun Mall, a quirky tourist attraction in Lexington, Kentucky. And there for years Pablo Escobar, as the mall affectionately nicknamed it, stands on display. A stuffed black bear that once ate 75 pounds of cocaine. Tourists take photos with it. It becomes a local legend. The bear's story remains a bizarre true crime tale told in bars and documentaries. Did you hear about the bear that ate cocaine? It's the kind of story people don't believe until you show them the news articles and medical reports. Then in 2023, 38 years after the bear's death, Hollywood decides to make a movie. Cocaine Bear, directed by Elizabeth Banks, is released in February 2023. But here's the thing, the movie is only loosely based on the true story, very loosely. In reality, the bear ate cocaine and died quickly. That's the whole story. It's tragic and weird, but it's over in a few hours. In the movie, the bear eats cocaine and goes on a murderous rampage, killing multiple people in increasingly gruesome ways while high out of its mind. It's a horror comedy about a drug-fueled bear terrorizing people in a national park. None of that happened. The real cocaine bear never killed anyone. It never went on a rampage. It ate cocaine, felt terrible, and died. That's it. But the movie is marketed as based on a true story, and it becomes a surprise hit. It makes over $90 million worldwide. People love the absurd premise. A bear on cocaine is inherently entertaining, even if the real story is much sadder and shorter. The film brings renewed attention to the true story. Journalists revisit the case. The Kentucky Fun Mall sees a surge in visitors wanting to see the real cocaine bear. The bear becomes a pop culture icon. But let's talk about the real story and what it represents. First, the obvious. This is a tragedy for the bear. A wild animal that did nothing wrong, ate something it thought might be food, and died horribly as a result. The bear didn't choose to consume cocaine. It had no idea what cocaine was. It was just being a bear, investigating something unusual in its territory, and it paid with its life. Second, this is a story about the war on drugs and its collateral damage. Andrew Thornton's drug smuggling operation wasn't a victimless crime. Beyond the human lives destroyed by cocaine addiction, Beyond the violence of the drug trade, there's also this: a bear died because Thornton was recklessly dumping drugs from an airplane. Third, this story is darkly absurd in a way that only real life can be. A former narcotics officer turned drug smuggler falls out of the sky wearing Gucci loafers. A bear eats 75 pounds of cocaine and dies. The bear gets stuffed and displayed in a Kentucky mall. Hollywood makes a horror comedy about it. You couldn't make this up. It's too weird. But beneath the absurdity is something darker. Andrew Thornton's smuggling operation destroyed lives. The cocaine he imported contributed to addiction, overdoses, and crime. His reckless dumping of drugs over a national forest not only killed a bear, but potentially put hikers, campers, and wildlife at risk. And he died without facing justice, killed by his own recklessness. The cocaine bear is a symbol of the war on drugs' unintended consequences. When we think about the drug trade, we think about cartels, dealers, addicts, law enforcement. We don't usually think about the environmental impact. But here's a direct example: wildlife dying from human drug trafficking. How many other animals have been harmed by the drug trade? How many birds, fish, or mammals have consumed drugs dumped in forests, rivers, or oceans? The cocaine bear is the only famous case, but it's probably not the only case. Today, the stuffed cocaine bear still stands in the Kentucky for Kentucky Fun Mall. It's a tourist attraction, a photo opportunity, a conversation starter. People take selfies with it. They laugh about the absurdity. They buy Pablo Escobar merchandise. But the bear itself, the living animal that died in 1985, doesn't get much sympathy. It's become a punchline, a meme, the subject of a Hollywood horror comedy. And maybe that's fitting. Maybe the story is so absurd that humor is the only response. Or maybe we should remember that behind the jokes in the movie is a real animal that died a horrible death because of human greed and stupidity. Andrew Thornton II died the same day he dumped the cocaine. He never faced trial, never served time. His death was quick. He hit the ground and it was over. The bear's death was slower, more painful. It consumed a substance it didn't understand, suffered as its body shut down, and died alone in the forest. One was a criminal who chose his path. The other was an innocent animal in the wrong place at the wrong time. The cocaine bear's story is tragic, absurd, and darkly funny all at once. It's a real-life event so strange that Hollywood turned it into fiction. It's a footnote in the war on drugs that involves a dead smuggler, a dead bear, and 75 pounds of cocaine scattered across a Georgia forest. And it's a reminder that the drug trade has victims we never think about. Not just the users and their families, not just the communities destroyed by addiction, but also a black bear that wandered into the wrong part of the forest on the wrong day and paid the ultimate price. The cocaine bear didn't ask for any of this. It was just being a bear. And now, 38 years later, it's a stuffed tourist attraction and the subject of a major motion picture. Rest in peace, cocaine bear. You deserved better.